final event for the teams, and it's a brand new challenge once again as we close out the team competition at the 2019 Rogue Invitational with the Tug of War. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. Rory McKernan is down on the field. We'll hear from him throughout this event. But man, this one is just going to be all about grit and seeing who can outlast the other team.
Well, hey, guess what? It's not the title Tug of War. It's not like a fancy name. It's really Tug of War. Like the rope is out there and you need to pull the other team across the line just like you do in grade school. This is going to be really cool to watch. It's going to be a battle.
It is a double elimination bracket format. There's a look at the rope. Rory McKernan's on the field with more on the final event, the Tug of War.
Well, Sean, the initial brackets have been decided, and what I've got my eyes on there is the third and fourth names, rather. They both start with CrossFit Mayhem. Independence, who does not yet have their ticket to the games, will be going against Mayhem Freedom in the initial round. So how do they play it? Do you beat Rich Froning? Does Rich's team, who's already qualified, let them have the win? I cannot wait to see this one play out.
Thank you, Ro. I can't imagine that Rich Froning is going to let any team win, regardless.
That would be a tough one.
That goes against his programming.
But come on, Coach. That might be a coach's play. We'll have to see.
I'll tell you what, if Independence does wind up beating Mayhem, that's, ooh, I wouldn't want to be working out of that gym for the next couple of weeks. That's the team right now that stands to earn the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. OC3, they are your overall leaders. They have a 42-point lead over Invictus Back Bay. That's a pretty comfortable lead here heading into the final event.
And they've been very strong in so many of the events that have been tossed their way. This is very unique because, not because it doesn't take strength and power, it totally does. But there are not many CrossFitters out there that tend to say, all right, in my training, I need to make sure that I have Tug of War in there.
This is a brand new challenge, like we said. We've never seen this before in a CrossFit competition. As we showed you earlier, only the person in the back, and that's going to be Joe Persanti for OC3, can wrap the rope around his waist. Taylor Williamson is next, and then it's Andrea Nisler, and then Luke Schaefer will be in front, and they will be pulling against CrossFit Balance. We are underway in the first matchup. And OC3 is winning this battle. And OC3 is going to take it, and they will move on. And that result really puts them in the driver's seat as far as that invite to the CrossFit Games is concerned. Next up, the matchup from CrossFit Mayhem. The winner moving on to take on OC3. Mayhem Freedom, captained by Rich Froning, taking on Mayhem Independence.
I don't see anybody throwing anything back and forth across the field yet, so that's a good sign for Mayhem Freedom in general, right? No one's throwing like cups at each other or dirt clods.
I'm sure there was some trash talking before this event started. So it's Dre Strom who will be the anchor for Mayhem Freedom, and Royce Dunn will be the anchor for Independence. He's on the right of your screen. That white line in the middle, that's where the front person has to cross in order for the other team to win. You have to pull your team, the opposing team, across that line.
Now we have a little pause in the action here. It's because Dre
was trying to sneak some gloves. That is against the rules. Movement. Probably concealed those in the shorts before he came out, kind of WWE style. We are underway, second pull. Mayhem Freedom is dominating this one so far. And that's going to do it. So CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, led by Rich Froning, are not going to let the little brother win this one. Remember, this is double elimination, so the teams that lose this first pull, they are not out of the competition. The next matchup, Don't Stop, a team that has already earned an invite to the CrossFit Games courtesy of their effort at the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. They will be taking on CrossFit 417, who came into this event 5th place overall, 150 points back of CrossFit OC3. Alexis Johnson, Jen Smith, pardon me. Travis Williams and Roy Gamboa. Taking on Jared Stevens, Tyler Christoffel, Christine Kohlenbrander, and Bailey Rail. False start. I'm going to reset as Jared Stevens was still getting set on the left side of your screen. Remember, the anchor is the only person who can wrap that rope around the waist. And that will be Travis Williams' job for Don't Stop. This one's a close matchup now. Don't Stop is slipping. They're losing their footing. You can't wear cleats out here. And 417's going to take it.
And it's really strange because you're trying to figure out, all right, is it the stronger team that's going to have the advantage here? We know the 417 is very strong. We saw them in that front squat, so they got a lot of leg strength. But there's a technique to it, and just by sheer mass, if you are the larger, heavier team, you're going to have the advantage because of mass moves mass. That's just how it works.
Next matchup, Invictus Back Bay. Tola Moraquino, Craig Kenny, Kelsey Keel, and Meg Reardon taking on Team RomWOD. Alex Smith, Cody Mooney, Jessica Griffith, and Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, as Cody Mooney will be the anchor for his team, and Tola Moraquino will be the anchor for Invictus Back Bay. And these athletes were able to get coached by some Tug of War professionals, and they learned some techniques that are certainly helping them out here.
Well, and you know, that's the whole thing. Everyone knows the pull, everyone gets that, but those little finite details are what are going to allow you to win.
This pull is underway, and it's going to be Invictus Back Bay. Almost there, as Alex Smith is holding on for dear life, and he pull him across. And it's going to be Invictus Back Bay taking that one.
That was a great pull by Back Bay. They were very coordinated on how fast they moved that rope. Everyone got into the lean together, so all that mass was able to move back at one time.
Tola Moraquino congratulating Jessica Griffith and Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet. That's the way things shape up as we now move into round number 2 of this double elimination brackets. OC3 taking on Mayhem Freedom. That'll be a great matchup. And 417 will face Invictus Back Bay in the winner's bracket.
And it's just really fun to watch what was going on here. What are they doing? Everyone knows to pull. We talked about this just a second ago. Everyone understands you're supposed to pull, and you got to keep your feet underneath you as much as possible. If anybody goes down, you have one person that kind of gets off balance, he goes down, you lose all that power, and then the team just yanks you across the line. Now, we talked about how interesting this was going to be. I thought that was going to be funny, who was going to win. But again, it's a matter of how the teams are unifying their group and how they're coordinating that pull at the same time, moving that mass at the same time to get as much power on that rope as possible.
This is an elimination pull coming up. And technically, Independence is going to move on because Balance, because they had to make a change to their roster after the first event, they are already out of the competition, but they have been allowed to stay on and compete despite that. This is essentially a formality here as Independence will be moving on. The bottom of your screen is the loser bracket, so Balance taking on Mayhem Independence, as Balance lost their first pull to OC3 and Independence lost to CrossFit Mayhem Freedom.
Yeah, Independence is just so close together. I think they'd want to spread out just a little bit so they're not tripping all over each other.
We're underway. And Balance is putting up a good fight here, but now Independence starting to gain some ground. And Balance is not going to go without a fight here.
Oh my God.
And you have to get the other team across the white line. It doesn't matter who's the farthest here. We could have a tie, but we are only 30 seconds into this 2-minute window. And Independence
Oh, this is a chance.
With the
This is
slip.
a
Now here
chance.
comes Balance. They're going to gain some
Balance.
ground back. The Independents starting to pull and get some good leverage, and they will take it. So a good fight from CrossFit Balance. But Mayhem Independence is going to move on, and that'll do it for CrossFit Balance, who really had one of the best stories of this entire competition, courtesy of Caitlin Mead, who is the woman with the black ponytail at the top of your screen, who came to this competition as a spectator and wound up having to compete and fill in for the injured Elizabeth Perry. Next elimination poll, Don't Stop, taking on Team RomWOD. And both of these teams have already earned an invitation to the CrossFit Games. Don't Stop gets the invitation from the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. RomWOD got theirs at the Wadapalooza event. We are underway. It's a loser leave town match. And RomWOD Witt gets Travis Williams in the back off balance. He's on the right of your screen. And Alexis Johnson is on the white line, and that's going to do it for RomWOD Witt. So Don't Stop gets eliminated, courtesy of RomWOD. So RomWOD and Independence staying alive here in this final event. And now back to the winner's bracket. And this is going to be a heavyweight matchup coming up. Rich Froning and Mayhem Freedom taking on OC3. And CrossFit OC3 is basically staring at another CrossFit Games appearance as they have a stranglehold on that invite right now.
Not only do they have the stranglehold on the invite, but both these teams were on the podium at the Games last year. So there's some high-ranking teams that are going head-to-head. I just think it's the pressure that puts on all these athletes is huge. I love it.
Now Luke Schaefer subbed in for Colin Carty, but for the most part, this is a homegrown team from OC3.
I know, and I think that they've always been that way. I think that's really impressive that they've been able to put such a strong team together for so many years.
Mayhem Freedom is on the left. OC3 will be on the right. And we are underway. 2-minute window. We're basically dead even. Mayhem Freedom gaining a little ground, but not much.
OC3 really trying to stay up on their feet. You see when someone drops down, that's when they really lose their footing, lose that weight, lose that mass.
Dre Strom in the back. As the anchor doing a good job keeping his team from ceding too much ground. And we are dead even with Mayhem Freedom with slight advantage. Luke Schaefer is inching his way to that white line. Once his foot hits it, they will be eliminated from the winner's bracket. So Mayhem Freedom now with a significant advantage. And Schaefer sliding across the line, and that's going to do it. Mayhem Freedom gets the win. But remember, OC3 is still alive. This is a double elimination format.
That was a great pull by Mayhem. What I liked about, you can see Rich was actually talking to the team, like calling out when to yank it at the time. So OC3 was just basically trying to hold on, but you could see pulses with Mayhem Freedom.
Next winner's bracket match, 417 taking on Invictus Back Bay. And this should be a good slugfest as well. We are underway and just about even, and Tyler Christoffel slipping on the left side of your screen. And now Back Bay starting to win the war. Moraquino and Kenny in the back. Just too much to handle for Tyler Christoffel and company, and Back Bay will move on to take on Mayhem Freedom in the winner's bracket. 417 moves down to the loser side. Double elimination format here. Two teams that are left in the winner's bracket. Just saw Back Bay. That's Mayhem Freedom, a team that qualified a couple of weeks ago after winning the Asia CrossFit Championship in Shanghai, China. And there's a look at where the bracket stands right now. We have the matchup. We got a mix-up here. We got to correct the bracket. So 417 is going to take on Independence, and OC3 will take on RomWOD in the losers bracket. 417, who didn't get a whole lot of rest, they're back out there against Mayhem Independence. Loser of this pool will be out.
So Jared Stevens back in the back end of 417. In that last pool, actually lost, as the anchor, he lost that rope around his back. So he lost all that tension and that locking down of that rope. So he really needs to make sure he keeps that on his body so he can really use his weight and lean into that rope.
And we are underway. And it's Independence with the early advantage. But now 417.
There's that pulse. There's that pulse.
With a huge comeback. And Kristen Miller about a foot away from that white line. But Independence was hanging tough until then, and 417 is going to stay alive, and Independence has been eliminated. Another elimination matchup coming up next as it's RomWOD taking on OC3. Loser is out, winner stays alive. Once again, as we have seen in the last couple of polls, Cody Mooney will remain the anchor for RomWOD. And Joe Persanti will be the anchor for OC3. And OC3 off to a quick start.
Look at that power.
Alex Smith in front. He's trying to hang on, and once again, his foot is pulled across the line.
Safe.
So that's the win for OC3 as they will move on to face 417 in the next elimination match. And we will go back now to the winner's bracket. And this is for a spot in the finals as Mayhem Freedom will take on Back Bay. Taser Persevich, China Cho, Dre Strom, and Rich Froning taking on Invictus Back Bay. Neither one of these teams has yet to lose a pull. And there's where we stand. The remaining teams, Mayhem Freedom, Invictus Back Bay, 417, and OC3 in the losers bracket. 4 teams are left. And OC3, meanwhile, in the bigger picture, came in with the overall lead with 540 points. And the farther they get, the more of a stranglehold they put on that invite to the CrossFit Games. Send it back down to Roy McKernan on the field.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I just checked in with Mayhem Independence, and in particular Royce Dunn, who you guys know can squat the entire world, asking because it makes it look like it's an easy movement. He said, no, this thing burns your legs completely, and it feels like you're doing a sled pull forever. So don't let looks be deceiving. This is actually a really difficult test, and it's coming down to this.
Thank you, Ro. Final event for the team competition here at the Rogue Invitational. One more look at the bracket. On the top, in the winner's bracket, it's Mayhem Freedom taking on Invictus Back Bay. In the bottom of the losers bracket, OC3 and 417, they will go against each other for the right to move on to the finals. Here's the matchup for pool number 11. Mayhem Freedom taking on Invictus Back Bay. Kelsey Keel in front for Invictus Back Bay. Taser Persevich in front for Mayhem Freedom. Dave Strom continues to be the anchor for his team, and Tolamora Aquino will be the anchor for Back Bay. We are underway. Early advantage for Mayhem Freedom, but now Back Bay starting to gain ground.
Oh, wow, look at him move. Very coordinated drive by Back Bay. Oh, man, look at them just move that mass.
And Persevich slipped, and that was it for Mayhem Freedom as Back Bay takes advantage. So Mayhem Freedom will still be alive, but now they have to work their way back to the finals through the losers bracket. Back Bay, they are in. This is to stay alive now. The winner gets Rich Froning and Mayhem Freedom. OC3 will take on 417. The winner of that moves on to take on Mayhem Freedom. So OC3 and 417 here in this next matchup. This pull is underway, and OC3 off to a good start. And OC3 continues that momentum, and they are going to take the pull.
Wow.
The OC3 moves on for a rematch against Rich Froning and CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Mayhem Freedom got the best of that first matchup. But more importantly for OC3 in the big picture here, it's looking like they are heading back to the CrossFit Games.
That was a great pull set up by OC3. They had that drop and pull back at the same time. Nice pulse, which really knocked the other 417 off their heels. And then that was it. Once you get momentum going, then it's over.
And OC3 has got to go right back to work now. The winner moving into the finals to take on Back Bay. And Back Bay, since they have not lost yet, would have to be defeated twice in the finals, because this is double elimination. It's really been an impressive weekend for OC3. They came out really well, winning the first two events. And then they won another event earlier today, so they have been dominant so far in this competition. The Invictus Back Bay awaits the winner of this next pull, Mayhem Freedom and CrossFit OC3. As the wind really is picking up here. Andrea Nisler, Taylor Williamson, Joe Persanti, joined by Luke Schaefer for OC3, Taser Persevich, China Cho, Rich Froning, and Dre Strom for Mayhem Freedom. And neither team has yet to alter their order as far as where they're standing on the rope so far. And we are set for the next pull. Winner moves to the finals. Mayhem Freedom taking on OC3. And this is a rematch. First time it was Mayhem Freedom, and we are dead even at the start, but OC3 starting to gain some ground. Looks like they figured this thing out. Dre Strom in the back trying to keep his team from sliding too far, and OC3 is gonna take it. And with that, they can start packing for Madison because OC3 is making a return trip.
That was a beautiful pull. The way they dropped their hips down and turned and all got their feet moving at the exact same time. Freedom just was not able to stop that at all. It was a great, and they have the dead stop, so you can see them right in the beginning. They start, And then they get their feet moving at the same time, almost in unison like they're marching. Freedom just couldn't get their feet back underneath them, couldn't get them to stop. You can see Rich was trying to do what he could. But again, I think it was probably pulling against his knee a little bit. He actually stood up before they got to the line. Better safe than sorry.
OC3 works their way through the losers bracket into the finals. In order to win this entire event, they have to beat Back Bay twice. The Back Bay has yet to suffer a loss in this event. And that's how we got here, as OC3 is getting minimal rest here. This is their third straight pull, and Invictus Back Bay on the right of your screen is well rested. Kelsey Keel getting set for Invictus Back Bay, and we are underway. And OC3 hanging tough here, not ceding a whole lot of territory, and now a slip from Meg Reardon, and that allows OC3 to take the lead. And OC3,
oh my gosh, pulled them all off
looks like
balance.
they're going to take it, and they do. So one win is down for OC3, and we're going to have another pull for them. So first loss for Back Bay. The first time Back Bay has been bested, and it was one slip that looked like it did it.
Well, that's the thing. If you come off your feet, it's really hard to get your balance back. And you saw the power of both teams. I mean, they really locked each other into position. But that little bounce, you can see Meg Reardon trying to get that little bit of a bobble. Then once Kelsey Keel's feet came up, had that slight slip, put everyone out of sync, and then they lost their momentum at that point.
OC3 has 3 event wins so far in this competition. They're looking to kick the door down to Madison. I mean, they've already basically clinched the spot, but they could win 4 of the 7 events here. Impressive performance from them.
Impressive.
They will be a factor at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Last year they were 3rd overall. A quick reset, and now this is winner take all. The worst OC3 can do is second place in this event. And they're going to switch sides, as is customary in Tug of War.
Absolutely, that's what you do. Those are the things you do, Sean, in Tug of War, in the finals. You know what? In my clubhouse, when we would have Tug of War, down at the local club.
You've never been in a clubhouse. Just stop right there.
Are you saying wrestlers aren't in the clubhouse?
30 seconds before we start this winner-take-all final pull. OC3 taking on Invictus Back Bay.
And I think this is the classic story between mass. You know, usually mass will move mass on the Tug of War versus the technique that OC3 has. They're so synchronized in their pull and how they move. That's what allowed them to beat Back Bay in that last pull. But right off the get-go, Back Bay has the advantage with just the 4 larger athletes that are going to be able to anchor themselves down to the ground and start that momentum.
It's winner take all in this final event. Invictus Back Bay taking on CrossFit OC3. And early on, we're dead even. And now OC3.
Oh.
Like we saw in the last pull.
Look at that unison.
They are all on the same page. Pilomoro Quino is just trying to hang on and regain his footing on the left side of your screen. And Kelsey Keel with her foot on the line, and that's going to do it. OC3 wins the event and earns the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Joe Persanti, Luke Schaefer, Taylor Williamson, and Andrea Nisler. You guys are going to Wisconsin.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful pull with that team. I mean, that's beautiful across the board over the last 2 days with OC3. They really came here with something to prove, and they definitely proved it. They aren't just trying to make it to the games. They proved it here with the most dominant, deepest field out of any sanctioned event anywhere. These guys hammered it. But what a beautiful way to finish this. Now, start off at the beginning. You can see them on the right-hand side of your screen. They all drop at the same time, and then their feet actually start moving like they're marching. That's what I didn't see the other teams do. You can see Kelsey Kyo just trying to hold herself, do whatever she can to stay behind that line. Tola in the back, though, was just losing his footing on the anchor, just couldn't keep it. What a beautiful finish.
Let's go down to row with the team that's heading to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
All right, well, let's take a moment to celebrate this unique event. Can we see these medals you got here? All right, tell me what you guys learned. What was the key to success on this one?
Honestly, we thought going into it that mass would be very important, and it is really important, but we just tried to win the initial pole and get out hard, and then just work together as a team and, you know, not slip.
It was a dominant performance across the weekend, so what did you learn about the team this weekend?
Oh, I think we've learned a handful of things about the team that we can clean up over the next few months before the games, but overall I'd say pretty good performance. So.
Well, I'm honored to tell you officially for the first time that you guys will receive the invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games, and so how are you feeling about that?
Oh, I'm excited. It's always exciting to get a bid there.
All right, OC3, congratulations. We'll see you in August.
Thank you.
Wow. I mean, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. I don't want to say the cards were stacked against them.
But surprising that they were this dominant in this field, like you said.
Absolutely. They were so deep, and they did so well. They stepped up to the pressure, and, yeah, they knocked the door down to get their invite. Beautiful performance.
The team competition is done here at the Rogue Invitational, and it's CrossFit OC3 coming from the Hawkeye State. They're heading to Madison, Wisconsin in the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. We're going to head indoors and find out who's going to the games as an individual from the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Stay with us.